report.
Now at 6:30, Athens City is once again reviewing an ordinance to rezone parts of the city to build more affordable housing. Why opponents say they're against the changes.
Plus, with just weeks left before the deadline to approve the state budget, Ohio senators unveiled their changes to the House's version with a major change to income taxes.
And aluminum and steel tariffs double overnight.
The tariffs have created a lot of instability.
How manufacturers are preparing amid increasing uncertainty. Newswatch starts right now. Thanks for joining us. I'm Noah Cavan.
And I'm Abigail Semple. Welcome to Newswatch.
We have a lot to get to tonight, but first, let's turn it over to forecaster Steve Nedlick with the weather. Steve?
Yeah, guys, it was another beautiful summer day here in Athens today, but it was a little hotter than yesterday as we peaked around 88, 90 degrees with clear skies. Now, this was felt everywhere. I mean, across the board, mid to upper 80s. So it was hot as opposed to just that nicer weather we felt over the past few days. Now, taking a look at the radar, we don't have anything in our direct area. Out west, though, there is something brewing, but that remains to be seen when it gets here, so be on the lookout for that. Now, looking into tonight, it's going to cool off a little bit with the lack of clouds in the area, but still, 64, I mean, that's a wonderful night. If you want to do anything tonight, you might just need to maybe put a sweatshirt in your car, and you'll be good to go. Looking at tomorrow, we're still pretty hot, 87, so anything you have to do during the day, make sure you bring some water with you. And again, a low of 64. Some rain is in the forecast, but it looks like it might get here tomorrow night. But stay tuned for my full forecast to find out.
Thanks, Steve. Scioto County Sheriff's Department is asking for your help identifying a suspect in a Dollar General break-in in West Portsmouth. Around 6:59 Sunday morning, the sheriff received a call that someone had shattered the front door's glass and broken into the store. Security cam footage shows the suspect walking through the store barefoot while wearing white underwear and a cape. The suspect stole several packs of women's underwear and bras before leaving a trail of blood and underwear toward the roadway. If you have any information, you can call the number on your screen.
The Athena Cinema invited community members to celebrate its 110th anniversary. The Athena Cinema is beloved as the last standing movie theater in Athens. Fans of the Athena Cinema shared their stories at the 110th birthday of the theater.
Pavarotti is life in the movie, and my daughter and my late husband were sitting on two sides of me, and at one point I noticed all three of us were crying, but so happy at the same time. It was a wonderful movie. To me, the movies are always wonderful here. I have never watched anything that I was disappointed.
The celebration included a reception with refreshments, champagne, music, followed by a showing of Cinema Paradiso for just 10 cents. The Southern Ohio Copperheads are set to begin their season this Friday at Bob Wren Stadium. Something fans of the team may not know is just how much of an impact they have on the players. Newswatch reporter Joshua Horner has the latest.
Yeah.
Billy Adams is back in Athens for another summer playing for the Copperheads. Part of his reason for coming back, the support of the fans.
I mean, the fans make the organization. So as much as they keep supporting, then we can keep doing what we do and coming out and playing for them each year.
Assistant coach Ryan Grimm is also back for a second summer with the team. He says the experience of coaching for the Copperheads is unlike any other.
There were a couple games that, I actually quit coaching first base and just took it all, and I looked around, and it was amazing just how the atmosphere, it's different here.
With the exception of the executive director and owner, the staff is made up of college students, like assistant general manager Nicholas Medveds.
And we're trying to make the feel of, as baseball is not really getting played, as we're just here as a community having fun.
For Rion Iwase and Haruta Endo, the community experience is what drew them to Athens for the summer.
I was just looking for playing the big summer ball, and then, we got offered some summer balls, but here's so, view's nice, nice city, and then great community.
And tonight, the fans got a chance to meet the players for the first time this season. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Joshua Herner in Athens.
Athens City Council continues to move forward with plans to rezone a lot in the southern part of the city. The city is in the process of rezoning 111 Hooper Street from R1 to R3. City Council heard from community members that support and oppose the changes during a public hearing Monday night. Community members opposed cited road changes, noise, and general concern about change the zoning could bring from business development. R3 zoning would make it possible for development of medium-density housing to create apartments or townhouses. Local opposition has stopped affordable housing development in the past, including an effort on Pomeroy Road. But Councilmember Alan Swank, who introduced the ordinance, said this project was different.
Where this particular one is not on a busy street like that, there is Monticello Village across the street. It's a little closer to town, and it appears to be a good site.
While the formal bidding process cannot begin until land is rezoned, a developer, Hilltide Partners, has already expressed interest in the land. Property taxes are on the rise in Ohio, with taxpayers having to pay more each year. But a new bill could change requirements to pass property tax levies. The bill proposes requiring a 60% approval rating for property tax levies. As of now, levies only need a simple majority to pass. Supporters of the bill say this will prove taxpayers really want the levies, while opponents say it will harm funding for libraries, fire, police, and schools. Officials say they're worried about the new threshold would force these groups to make significant cuts. There's currently a citizen-led constitutional amendment to abolish property taxes in Ohio. To get the initiative on the November ballot, the petition needs 443,000 signatures.
Democrats in the state legislature are trying to put marriage equality on the 2026 ballot. As of now, gay marriage is protected, but there have been attempts to overturn it. If passed, the provision would create a constitutional amendment recognizing gay marriage in Ohio. This is just one of several pro-LGBT pieces of legislation. Other proposed laws include the Fairness Act to prevent discrimination based on sexual orientation in housing and jobs, and the Pride Act to provide hygiene and menstrual care products in all public and school bathrooms. Officials say more than 70% of Ohioans support marriage equality, but these laws would likely face difficulty in the majority Republican legislature. With the deadline to pass the state budget ticking closer, the Ohio Senate released hundreds of new amendments to the bill. Among these changes is a measure that would establish a flat income of 2.75% by tax year 2026. The flat rate would save Ohioans making more than six figures more than $1 billion, but would cost the state that same amount. In the budget bill, the Senate also changed the cash carryover requirements for public school districts. Under the House's version, school districts would be capped at 30% of cash on hand, which could pose a funding issues for schools. The Senate's version increases that cap to 50% and makes allowances for planned or ongoing construction projects. The Senate President says he hopes to have a floor vote by June 12th before the June 30th deadline.
The Congressional Budget Office says House Republicans' tax and spending cuts package, also known as Trump's Big Beautiful Bill, would add $2.4 trillion to the deficit over the next decade. The CBO also found nearly 11 million more people would be uninsured in 2034, due in large part to what would be historic cuts to Medicaid. This could complicate Senate Republicans' job of crafting a version of the bill that the divided GOP conference would approve. But some Senate Republicans say the bill is necessary, even with the potential cost to the deficit.
What I do know is if we don't pass this tax bill, we're going to have a $4 trillion increase in the economy and an economic slowdown, which will have its own costs.
Several Republican senators want deeper spending cuts because of their concerns over the House package's potential impact on the deficit. Other lawmakers are worried about the House version's major cuts to the nation's safety net, particularly Medicaid. As of today, U.S. tariffs on steel and aluminum doubled to 50%.
It's a move cheered by the beleaguered American steel industry, but worrisome to sectors that heavily use metals, from cars to can manufacturers.
Ivan Rodriguez breaks down President Trump's latest decision and the potential impacts.
The hike from 25% to 50% on aluminum and steel tariffs is President Donald Trump's latest move in his ongoing trade war.
What this is going to do is jack up the price of steel, which then jacks up the price of inputs for American manufacturers.
While it won't hit your wallet immediately, experts say high prices are inevitable on everything from appliances to canned goods to cars.
The thing these steel tariffs do is they help Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, of course, the Steelers, that's where they make steel. But I'm coming to you from just outside Detroit. And here we make cars and a lot of manufacturing, and almost every other part of the manufacturing sector uses steel.
The Steel Manufacturers Association praised the move in a statement, writing, quote, "This action will strengthen a vital industry that has suffered from global overcapacity, largely driven by China."
Listen, we're going to make our money, but others are going to lose, and we got to make sure that we balance that.
Jojo Burgess, the mayor of Washington, Pennsylvania, and member of the United Steelworkers Union, says the news is a double-edged sword.
The yo-yo effect of the tariffs have created a lot of instability. We don't have enough consistency because we might be sitting here next week talking about it's back to 25% because of they're working on a deal.
Experts also warn there are more jobs at risk than are protected by the tariffs.
Net effect of this is going to be to destroy manufacturing jobs.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
There's going to be a ripple effect in family budgets.
Coming up, federal cuts are causing chaos for student loans. What you need to know about the latest changes in default collections.
And more people are being bombarded with scam calls. What experts say you can do to protect your information.
Rain is on the way. Find out when it gets here next.
We didn't know anything about art. We just thought it was a quilt, something to keep you warm.
Not ever knowing a quilt would take you that far. This is their prayer being answered. They didn't have anything else to give us, and the quilts are going all over the world.
I will always love you.
Tonight at 10 on WOUB.
In hospital, you deal with cases. On the district, you deal with people. When mothers come to us, they bring everything they are with them.
There's nothing nicer than a fresh start.
You have done your best. Sometimes our best must be enough.
We're gonna take good care of you. We're with you now.
We all want to know the best way to reduce our risk of being diagnosed with Alzheimer's, improve our memory, and keep our brains sharp. Luckily, there's good news. Science shows that engaging in lifelong learning can have a significant positive impact on our brain health. Please join best-selling author and Harvard-trained neuroscientist Dr. Lisa Genova for Supercharge Your Brain.
Thursday at 9:30 on WOUB.
The Renaissance is endlessly conflicted and violent. And once you start to mix art and money, it's a lethal cocktail.
Michelangelo knows that he is going to be judged.
When it's finished, Leonardo moves to a new level of fame.
Raphael is going to steal Michelangelo's legacy.
Rivalry is embedded within the Renaissance.
It was another beautiful sunny day here in Athens as we had highs around 90 degrees with not a cloud in the sky. Now I want to direct your attention to the humidity level. We're only at 37%, so if you thought of the air parcel as like a glass of water, our glass of water isn't even halfway full, so it's really a dry one out there today. Now taking a look, it's pretty widespread across the board, mid to upper 80s, so it's been a pretty hot one. But you might be asking yourself, Steve, it doesn't really feel like oppressive kind of heat that I would feel in the middle of the summer. Now the reason for that is that dry air. This is a map of the heat index. So these deeper colors are what you would really feel like, man, 95, 100 degree real feel. Our real feel is right around the actual temperature. So it's really felt like about 80, 85 degrees because there isn't a lot of moisture in the air, so your body is able to sweat it off. Now we have had a little bit, while looking at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, this is it. This says we're going to be right at average. Right now, we're running about 10 degrees above average. The average in Athens around this time of year is 80 degrees. So we're at 87 right now. Now, the culprit for that is this cold front that's been setting up for the past few days, and it's just crawling to us. But it has done two really nice things, or will do two really nice things. It's going to drop the temperature down to the normal, our average for this time of year, but it's also allowed for that smoke to stay out of our area, and that's really helped push that smoke away because the wind that's coming out in front of this front right here is coming from the south. So it's acted as a bit of a buffer for that. Now, on the downside, this front has had some severe weather with it. Now, this is in Indianapolis. There have been some storms, but nothing here for right now. Looking into tonight, it will be pretty pleasant as, again, that rain holds off and we'll get down to about 64 degrees. Now, again, tomorrow morning, it's still not here yet because this is really just crawling along. We really haven't been able to get this relief that we've been planning on over the past few days. But finally, once we get to about tomorrow night, maybe the early hours of Friday, the high pressure really starts to push out to our east, and that's when we might get a few clouds and a little bit more rain in the area. Now, again, because of the lack of clouds that are going to be here tomorrow before that front comes in, we're still really going to be feeling pretty hot, and it might be a little more oppressive tomorrow because this front's going to bring with it a lot of moisture, so it will feel, the real feel will be a little bit higher tomorrow than it was today. But again, that low of 64 is what we're going to be looking at tomorrow. With those clouds in the area, it's going to help insulate us and keep us warm overnight. So looking for Friday, again, it becomes more widespread with that rain. That's when this front really gets here. So be on the lookout for that as we are tracking that system. Now, we do look here on Saturday of a chance of severe weather, but I think for the most part on your Friday night is where you're really going to see the most chance for some wind, a lot of rain. Saturday, Sunday, it starts to fizzle out, and then Monday we get another system coming our way. So be on the lookout for that as we have a lot of rain in the forecast.
Well, I'm glad to see that the rain's holding off for now. But right now, like you were mentioning during the break, it's kind of perfect pool weather tomorrow, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. Especially with all that moisture coming in, it's going to feel really hot. So if you can get off work early, maybe go take a dip in the pool.
Thanks, Steve. Education Secretary Linda McMahon wrapped up 2 days of Capitol Hill testimony today, where she was grilled by lawmakers about department cuts that will affect students at every level, including those with student loans to help pay for their education. The recent federal student loans system has created much confusion for borrowers. Karen Kafel has the latest.
The White House seeks to slash the Education Department's budget by 15%, and the future of some key federal student loan programs is on the line.
There are millions of people across this country who are just trying to stay on track of all of these changes.
Aisa Canchola Banez, policy director for the Student Borrower Protection Center, says the nonprofit is receiving borrower questions ranging from where to seek help as the Education Department has slashed staff to what President Trump's massive domestic policy bill, as passed by the Republican-led House, could mean for them.
This bill will massively eliminate the number of repayment options that borrowers have at their disposal.
The legislation currently under discussion in the Senate and the Education Department's budget request propose, among other program cuts, limiting federal student loan repayment plans to just two options, capping borrowing even for professional programs like medical school, and slashing maximum Pell Grants typically used by low-income undergraduates by about $1,700. Meanwhile, the Trump administration restarted collection of federal student loans in default last month, impacting millions of already squeezed borrowers. Matt Schultz, chief consumer finance analyst for LendingTree, says that could dent the overall economy.
There's no question in my mind that there's going to be a ripple effect in families' budgets as a result of these student loan payments restarting, because most people's financial wiggle room was pretty tiny anyway.
At a time when the U.S. economic outlook is already uncertain. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafel.
If you've noticed an increase in scam calls, texts, emails, or messages, you're not alone. Online scams are on the rise. According to a CNET survey, 96% of U.S. adults receive at least one scam email, text, or phone call each week. The FTC reported U.S. adults lost a total of $470 million in those text scams. Experts say if you don't recognize a caller, hang up.
The reason why I say that is so important is because artificial intelligence has evolved to where scammers are actually able to clone your voice and your responses to unfortunately use those for scams later.
Experts also say you should practice online safety by not clicking unknown links, not answering unknown calls, and freezing your credit to protect your finances.
Spending on Father's Day is expected to reach $24 billion this year. According to the National Retail Federation, that's a record and way up from last year's $22.4 billion. Of about 8,200 survey respondents, the average person plans to drop about $200. All that money will go to things like greeting cards, clothing, a special outing, and gift cards. Less than half of the respondents are buying for fathers or stepfathers, though. Just over half are buying for husbands, sons, brothers, friends, or grandfathers. Father's Day is Sunday, June 15th.
Next, how one technique is used in wastewater to track measles cases.
Hello, I'm Paula Kerger, President and CEO of PBS. Public television belongs to the American people, to viewers like you. But our service to your community is at risk because Congress is considering devastating funding cuts. We need your support now more than ever before. Please visit protectmypublicmedia.org to make your voice heard for your local station and the programs you love. Thank you.
For more than 70 years, WOUB Public Media has been the place where people in our region turn to learn how stories of the past ignite the imagination of the future. It's where information, entertainment, and education work together to inform, enlighten, and inspire generations. It's the place where the community gathers to hear and see our world in new and innovative ways. WOUB, the public media you trust that's worthy of your support.
The Ohio Art Corridor is a destination experience. We would like this to be the largest outdoor art gallery in the world.
Portsmouth was able to field an incredible team for a brief moment in the sun that almost was sweet enough to get them a national championship.
We got land granted to us in Ohio. Great opportunity. Let's go. How would you know you got here? It was just sheer determination and patience and just hard, backbreaking work.
The bridge was acclaimed at the time of being an engineering marvel.
Progress is all about taking the lessons of the past and doing better. So I would hope that now that we know better, we will do better.
More than 7 million Americans ages 65 and older are living with Alzheimer's disease right now, according to the Alzheimer's Association.
But the brain changes that cause the disease are thought to begin 20 years or more before memory loss and other symptoms start. Mandy Gaither has more on the early signs.
It's a brain disease causing a slow decline in memory, thinking, and behavior. In 2022, Alzheimer's disease was the 6th leading cause of death in those ages 65 and older. And the Alzheimer's Association says nearly 14 million Americans in that age group are expected to be living with the disease by 2060.
This is a public health crisis.
A new campaign is aimed at making people aware of 10 early Alzheimer's warning signs often mistaken for normal aging. Memory loss that disrupts daily life, challenges in planning or solving problems, difficulty completing familiar tasks, confusion with time or place, trouble understanding visual images and spatial relationships, new problems with words in speaking or writing, misplacing things and losing the ability to retrace steps, decreased or poor judgment, withdrawal from work or social activities, and changes in mood and personality.
Early detection can really help ensure a loved one receives the best care, support, and access to treatment.
Experts say close family members are usually the first to notice these changes in a loved one, so being aware of the potential signs is critical.
With that knowledge, empower family members to have a conversation about Alzheimer's if they notice a difference in their loved one's attitude or behavior.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
As measles cases continue to rise across the U.S., researchers are using sewage wastewater to track the virus. It's a testing effort similar to what scientists did during the COVID pandemic. Sewage was tested for virus particles that helped identify early signs of increasing transmission. Now, this first national wastewater monitoring aims to detect measles where people are infected. Cases could potentially be identified days before people show symptoms or go to a doctor. The new program is available for use at dozens of wastewater treatment plants in 40 states.
Scientists are unraveling the mysteries of the medieval pandemic known as the Black Death that killed 25 million people. A new study found the plague bacteria kept people alive just long enough to keep spreading infections for centuries. Researchers found that a change to only one gene in the bacteria sparked new strains. Those were not as deadly, but can be more transmittable. The discovery was made by looking at bacteria samples from human remains found in Denmark, Europe, and Russia. Scientists hope their findings will further help understand modern outbreaks and pandemics.
President Bashar al-Assad has been brought down.
Thousands of people celebrated.
The inside story of mass detention, torture, and killing, told by those who carried it out. And their victims.
ما بحسن يعني إنه يكون سادي عم يتعذب وأنا عم بسمع صوت المعذب.
ما بعرف كيف ممكن نتجاوز هالواقع وكيف بدنا نداوي جروحاتنا.
Tuesday at 10 on WOUB.
For intelligent, insightful reporting.
Were you surprised that they were using Signal to talk about really sensitive stuff?
There have been screw-ups in Washington since time immemorial, but I can't think of one quite like this.
Join moderator Jeffrey Goldberg and the country's best journalists for incisive analysis of the most consequential stories.
There's been a lot of soul-searching on the Democrat side about what went wrong.
Once these tariffs go in, the question becomes how long they will stick to this policy and what will be the breaking point.
WOUB is recognizing members of our Cornerstone Society. The Cornerstone Society is a group that wants to ensure the future of public media in our region. It includes people across our area who value news, entertainment, and cultural programming, as well as the educational services WOUB provides. Also included are graduates of Ohio University who took part in the WOUB Student Professional Development Program. Thanks to the Cornerstone Society for their generous support. To learn how you can be involved, email woub@woub.org.
The age of discovery is now. It's like magic.
Act like you're having a good time.
I am. Isn't it wonderful?
Hey, I can do better than that.
Brace yourself.
The world's changing. Very poetic.
It's one of the coolest animal stories on the planet.
This role as a caregiver is an emotional ride.
Be ready to be amazed and have that wonder.
Pro hockey fans are already counting down to the Stanley Cup, but animal lovers may also want to gear up for the Stanley Pup. The event will air before Game 2 is played Friday. Current and former NHL players will introduce 32 adorable rescue dogs, each representing an NHL team. The Pups, Braden Pointer, Philip Forsberg, and John Snarlson, among others, will compete to show off their canine skills on ice. There will even be play-by-play commentary. All the dogs will be available for adoption in their cities. You know, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but as somebody who hasn't watched a lot of hockey, this absolutely could get me into it a little bit more.
I don't know much about hockey, but this kind of makes me want to learn more.
Absolutely. And if you want to take your pup out for some evening activities, tonight's the night to do it, as we're going to be in the mid to upper 80s. And then as we move into tomorrow, that's going to continue before some rain comes into the forecast, and it doesn't leave until the middle of next week.
Well, that's going to do it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For Steve Nedlick, I'm Noah Cavan.
And I'm Abigail Semple. Have a great night.